Nightmare Real, and you're watching Mission Boxing today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So I just seen this interview of Tony Bellew. I'm not sure what show he was on, but I will leave a link to the interview that I seen of him. One of the guys I'm subscribed to, Box Mad Magazine. Shouts out to him and his channel. That's where I seen the interview, and just listening to Tony Bellew, man. It's I'm almost pulling for the upset here. I don't really have a dog in the race in this fight. Obviously David Haye is the favorite. I'm favoring him to win this fight. But I'm almost pulling for Tony Bellew to win this fight, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. But just listening to it, one thing that stood out is Bellew said he's 221 pounds. Again, I'm not sure how current this interview is. It looked pretty new to me. But I don't know, maybe some of you UK fans can check it out, and you'll probably know if it's an old interview or not. But he says he's 221 pounds. He said on fight night he will be lighter than that. So I guess we'll see what he weighs in at. He went on to say that he believes that David Haye is the quickest single punching heavyweight in the world. I think you can argue that. Haye has pretty fast hands. Even this version of David Haye, he still punches from those weird, angles with those looping punches that he brings from damn near his kneecap all the way up. You know what I mean? He still throws those fast looping hooks. Then Bellew went on to say that Anthony Joshua is the fastest combination puncher at heavyweight. And you could probably argue all these, who's the fastest single punching heavyweight and combo punching heavyweight. Got guys like Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz Jr. Some people may even nominate Huey Fury. But so that lets you know that Bellew, he does have respect for David Haye. But with that said, though, he want to kick his ass. You know what I mean? He also went on to say that the interviewer asked him what's his game plan. Tony Bellew had me cracking up, man. He said to punch him in the face as hard as I possibly can, as many times as I possibly can. As many times as I possibly can. He pretty much just said the old Mike Tyson, everybody has a game plan till they get hit. You know what I mean? So, but what he wants to do is just, try to outquick David Haye. And he believes that David Haye, although he's the most, according to him, to Bellew, the quickest single punching heavyweight, he said himself that he doesn't believe that David Haye is as quick as some of the cruiserweights that he's fought. We're going to see on fight night, you know what I mean? And Bellew also went on to say this is not the same David Haye that was hungry 7, 8, 9 years ago. He said this is a completely different David Haye. Bellew says that this is a David Haye. There's a difference between this David Haye and the old David Haye. This David Haye doesn't really want to be there, doesn't really want to fight, doesn't really want to be in boxing. He's just collecting paychecks. And if you look at what the fighters he's fought since he's came back, he's fighting guys that he believes that he can win before he steps in the ring. And Bellew said he knows that David Haye is overlooking him, and he believes that he already has this fight won. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of fans tell me this. And I've said it in videos too. I know I did some videos the other day about David Haye. And that was just me saying, stylistically, I would love to see Haye in some of these fights, man. I would love to see Haye take on the winner. Well, he has Bellew first, all right? But I've mentioned Haye as far as taking on Wilder in videos before, or taking on Anthony Joshua, or the winner out of Parker and Ruiz Jr., so I guess I'm just caught up in that, man, just wanting to see David Haye in some of these matchups. I think they can make for intriguing fights, but I can't lie. I have seen David Haye's pattern, and he does come across like a guy that's just taking fights that he knows that he can win. Even the Anthony Joshua fight, he will be the betting underdog going into that fight, but David Haye really believes that he can beat Anthony Joshua. He's been talking about Joshua before Joshua even won the title against Charles Martin. So I will agree with fans when it comes to David Haye trying to pick and choose and maneuver fights that he believes that he can win. I do believe that, because I haven't heard him talk about him wanting redemption against Klitschko. Although, who knows how possible that could even be. But I've never heard him say things like that. I've never heard him you know, say I want to go into a fight where it's going to be 50-50, or, I want to be the underdog. I never heard him say that, man. So just looking at his track record from his, the fight with Demore and Jarek Jai, Haye was a huge favorite going into those fights, man. So what else did Bellew say in that interview? He says that he's been studying Haye for a while, and he says he believes as Haye gets in trouble, he will be looking for a way out, kind of like what he did in the Vladimir Klitschko fight, just moving around, not really trying to engage, and then when the fight was over, he took his shoe off and showed his toe. You know what I mean? That possibly could happen, or we could see a very vicious David Haye, especially in there with a guy like Tony Bellew. We could see a vicious David Haye, man. But thought it was an interesting interview. I will leave a link to it in the description box. You guys can watch it for yourself. Some of you probably has already seen it, but it was my first time seeing it today, man. And I'm not sure how new it was. Looked pretty new though, but listening to Tony Bellew talk is just comedy. It's just funny as hell, man. But he's focused for this fight, and I say it's comedy, and I believe it's funny because the passion is there. But I just like the shit talking. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. I just like the shit talking, and I like when Haye goes back at him too, man. So you guys check this interview out, man. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm out.